Hello everybody and welcome to the Daily Review, episode number 248 for Saturday, November 14th, 2009. And the film I'm going to be reviewing for you guys today is 2012. 2012 is directed by Roland Emmerich and it stars John Cusack, Amanda P. Chiwetel Ejiofor, I probably mispronounced that one, Thandie Newton, Oliver Platt, Woody Harrelson, and the president himself, Danny Glover. Take with that what you will. 2012 is basically the movie to end all movies, the disaster flick to end all disaster flicks. It's about the date, which is 12/21/2012, which is predicted by the Mayans to be the day that the world is going to end. And that happens to come true in this film. And John Cusack plays a father who's taking his kids out camping in Yellowstone. He realizes this stuff's going to go down, so he gathers his kids, his ex-wife, and his ex-wife's boyfriend, and they try to travel to China, which is where it's supposed to be safe. There's also a side plot involving the president's aides. Also, there's a geologist who knows about stuff. The typical type of, summer blockbuster disaster flick shtick. 2012, I think, is pretty successful at what it's trying to do, but it also does some things pretty horribly, I think. I'm not going to sit here and review this film like it's trying to be the Academy Award winner for Best Picture, because that's not what it's trying to be. The film is trying to be a very entertaining, highly special effects disaster film, and I think for the most part it succeeds on what it's trying to do. I think the first thing that a lot of people will probably tell you about this is that the film is 2 hours and 38 minutes long, and in my opinion it's about 45 minutes too long. There's a lot of scenes that kind of go on forever, and I think it takes about 45 minutes for things to actually start happening. But in my opinion, once the things actually do start happening, it's pretty much a feast for your eyes. The first disaster sequence that happens with John Cusack in his car, and he's basically outrunning the world that's collapsing around him, is some pretty crazy stuff. It actually feels more like I was on a ride at Universal Studios than I was actually watching a movie, and it's really fun for that. There's also a scene involving them on a very small airplane that you've probably seen in the trailers, where they're basically flying through buildings that are collapsing around them, freeways, cars that are falling. There's a scene where Las Vegas is completely being torn apart, and anybody that's been to Vegas is pretty much smiling watching the wind crumble and seeing the fake Eiffel Tower fall down. All that stuff is good and fun. Once the film gets to about the hour-and-a-half mark, like a lot of these types of films, I think, I was pretty much over it. And I think most people are probably going to feel the same way. I don't think I'm trying to speak as just, a film critic and I'm being uppity, but it gets to this point where it's like you don't really care anymore. There's scenes towards the end where it's like, oh, is John Cusack going to make it out alive? You don't really care anymore at this point, and it kind of turns into the Poseidon Adventure by the end of this film, which is a big turnoff for me because I saw all the water and crazy stuff in The Day After Tomorrow, and it didn't entertain me then, Roland Emmerich, and it's not really entertaining to me now. That being said, though, I do think that 2012 is worth the price of admission alone for the first initial sequences, because they are absolutely stunning and breathtaking, and despite what some people may think, I'm sure this movie by critics is going to get compared to Transformers 2, saying that it's just a bunch of special effects, no story, that sort of thing. And they'd be right, but the difference, I would say, is that I feel the special effects in this film surpass anything you see in Transformers 2. You can actually see what's going on. There's very cool little details. I think there's one scene where a building's collapsing and you see the people that are slowly falling from it in the distance. So that's really cool. However, there is some pretty cheesy dialogue, and the film goes on for a little too long. So because of that, I'm going to give 2012 a 3 out of 5, but a recommended 3 out of 5 to see this film in theaters if you're wanting to, because it really looks pretty impressive on the big screen in those first initial disaster sequences. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching, and I will be back tomorrow with another one for you.